budget they give, they say that, for example, that allocation for education could even fund free education. Do you think that, yes, some of this may look good on paper, we are spending big on education, but really not in the right way?
That's true, that our focus has always been on the revenue side, because I think that's what comes from your pocket directly. And that is where we miss the point. Because if we do not check on the expenditure, then the raid on your pocket will continue. That is guaranteed.
And it won't make sense.
It won't make sense. So if we looked at the expenditure as Kenyans and raised pertinent questions on that expenditure bit, maybe the raid on your pocket will stop. Because I think if you look at what has been happening for a number of years, our total expenditure has been going up. And for that reason, every finance bill has been trying to rein in more money. Yeah? And you know it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be that every finance bill has got to collect more. It could be that the tax laws that exist, whatever they are collecting still remains the same. However, government puts in policies to expand the economy so that under the current laws, you're still able now to collect much more from the economy because the economy has expanded, courtesy of the policies that the government is running. But I think because that has not been happening, our expenditure has also been going up. We never question. And I want to raise a particular concern with those allocations. And you've correctly put it that education seems to be having the lion's share. I think that has been very consistent every year, and it has gone up. I know that we've been speaking about a new funding model for the university education, where now families are also involved in contributing. We know that capitation in high schools has been happening, but again, families have got to share that bit, the fees you share as a family. We do not have free education yet. We know that the free primary education has been there, but still it has its own challenges. So we will expect that with all these resources, we're having an efficient education model and system for the country. You will agree with me that these days there are very few people who have their children in public primary schools. And this is not because they enjoy. The private schools are quite expensive, but it's because the primary education is inefficient in the public sector. I will expect with these kind of resources that we will actually be very intentional again to achieve efficiency in that sector. Because now it is time for us to ask, how is this money really spent in that area? Secondly, you've seen the allocation to security. You will notice that that is a 50% increase from last year. And to me, that is shocking. But again, not surprising. Considering that this is an election year, I do not think they are going to employ more security officers. But again, as Joshua said, some of the vote heads in that sector are confidential. So we then expect, your guess is as good as mine, on how that money is going to be spent, especially in this election year. The allocation in agriculture has gone down. I agree that agriculture is devolved, but again, I still believe that the national government has got intentional programs that it could run. But again, probably at this point, it is not a priority because we're looking into an election, and maybe the expenditure in agriculture may not be favoring the powers that be.
Yeah, but you look at the focus here, and youth SMEs and social protection, probably because many younger Kenyans would expect a focus on job creation, probably. But we see a lot of handouts from government, and I don't know, how do you see that from a finance perspective? Handouts, how effective are they in job creation?